Scorpio, this is your week ahead astrology forecast from Astrology Motivation by Born Without Boundaries. Welcome everybody. Every week in these videos, I review the major planetary aspects and transits and how they impact your natal sun and what that means for your bottom line. So all you need for this video to enjoy it is to know your birthday. That's it. It's very helpful to know exactly where your natal sun is located in the sign of Scorpio, as in which degree it's located on. If you guys have your natal chart, you'll know what I'm talking about. But you don't need that for this video. All you need for this video is to just sit there and chit chat with me and listen, because I will translate the degrees into correlating birthdays. But those are estimates. So the most accurate way is definitely go get your natal chart when you have time. Not right now. Hang out with me. But definitely go get your natal chart when you have time. I know most of my Scorpios already have their natal chart, but it's real easy and cheap to get a natal chart. No, this is not a promo or a pitch. It's legitimately free. You just have to search free natal chart or free birth chart, either one. And you need your birth date, your birth time, and your birth location. And then in like a couple of seconds, the computer or the website will spit out a free natal chart for you. It's really, really cool. And that just kind of opens the door to astrology for you. It's where everybody, and especially astrologers, begin, is their own natal chart. So, oh, Scorpio, this is the week of June 27th to July 3rd. I'm always reading off my paper. I tell you guys, I always write it down. I don't. First of all, I'm not a real I'm a digital person, but I'm not a tech person. So I don't like to just read stuff off of I like paper. And the only way I can get it in my head is to write it down. So I always take notes. always. I always have so that's where I'm looking. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start real broad with the big stuff. And there's actually a lot of big stuff this week. We got to talk about it. And then I'm going to focus things down into Scorpio specific information that all you guys should be aware of. And then I am going to break things down into the decans. And a decan is a group of 10 degrees. And every zodiac sign has 3 of them, because every zodiac sign is a total of 30 degrees. And by doing that, astrologers like me can figure out exactly how your natal sun is being impacted by the other angles, by the other planets, based on their angle to your natal sun, because not all your natal suns are forming the same angle. Remember, there's a total of 30 degrees within the zodiac sign of Scorpio, so not all Scorpios are going to get affected by the same planets or the same phenomenons in the same way. It's just not going to happen like that. It doesn't work like that. So this is where you can find much better astrology, much more accurate astrology, and a much more accurate understanding of how the astrology could impact your week. So let's start with the big stuff. Okay, Scorpio. We got a full moon. Remember, this goes all the way out to July 30th. We got a full moon. The full moon is around, I think by the time it's full, it's around 13, 14 degrees Capricorn, because the sun and Mercury are about 13, 14 degrees Cancer. That's happening on July 3rd. There's so much that involved. So let's start. The full moon in Capricorn is trine to Jupiter and Uranus. Even though Jupiter is at 9 degrees Taurus and Uranus is at 21 degrees Taurus, because because this full moon happens in the second decan. This is why the decans are important. This full moon happens in the second decan, like the center of the second decan of Capricorn. That means that in terms of the angles it creates, because Jupiter is located at the end of the first decan and Uranus is located at the beginning of the second decan, this full moon is actually trine to both of them. Word? Yeah, dude. It's almost like that bowling move where you get the perfect split down the center. It's like 1 in a million shot, and this is it. This is it. We also have, of course, all full moons are in direct opposition to the sun, but this sun in Cancer is accompanied by a little friend, Mercury. Mercury is conjunct the sun all week, I think it's in perfect conjunction with the sun on the 30th. They're both going to be at like around 8 degrees Cancer at that point. But by the time it reaches, the moon reaches in direct opposition to the sun, Mercury is still going to be conjunct the sun. Now, opposition to Mercury conjunct the sun is a lot more like bigger kind of, I would say, kerfuffles, especially when you have, well, no, that's not true, because Mercury conjunct the sun is really bright and really brilliant. But dude, there's something shady and hidden with the moon that's going to be illuminated and it's going to come out. Like, that's why I said this moon is about to reveal lots of shady dealings, because the moon is happening, I think, about 13 degrees from Pluto in Capricorn. What? Just a couple of days after Neptune goes retrograde. What? Now, what's interesting, because that's another thing, on the 1st, it's only 2 days away. The full moon really happens 2 days after Neptune goes in retrograde. Not a huge phenomenon by itself, because Neptune goes retrograde about this time every year. Well, about this time every year. So Neptune goes retrograde. Okay. Maybe way back in history it was a different time of the year. But you can almost count it. You can rely on the fact that Saturn, Neptune, and Pluto are all going to be retrograde around the summer season. It has been like that since I can remember. So they're all in retrograde now. Great. But Neptune going into retrograde throws things into chaos, because what it does really is it almost tears down the veil and reveals the illusions. It makes things too real. You don't have that buffer. And in a way, we need our fantasy escape. We need a little bit of buffer from reality. We need a little bit of that influence. But when Neptune goes into retrograde, it's almost like the veil is pulled back and it's just all reality all the time. And that makes people really tense. The fact that all of this is happening just about, let me say, it's not trine. It's trine Jupiter and Uranus. It's not trine Neptune. Ew. Ah. It's not sextile. Could be a little bit more frustrated than that. But Neptune is sextile to Pluto. I know it's all churning in my head right now. Can you see it? It's like, is there smoke coming out of my ears? There's a lot of shit that's going to be revealed. Because Neptune and Pluto are in cahoots. They're sextile. And that's going to be until like 2035. What does that mean? We're getting much more spiritual. And we're getting much more on the fast track to use our psychic energies and our psychic abilities and really change the world by doing so. So there is some sort of big kind of reveal, but I don't think it's going to be a comfortable reveal, but it's a reveal that we absolutely need, that is coming around this full moon. Now, we also have Jupiter sextile the sun conjunct Mercury all week long. That is so big, because Jupiter's big, it makes everything bigger, right? And when you have the sun, which already has its own personality, that's almost like a rocket fuel explosion with a little Mercury there to sort of, there's going to be some big news that comes out. So in other words, this is almost like it's going to almost happen publicly. This is a huge announcement around this time, because something has come to light that's been shady and people think they could have kept it hidden. Word. We also have all week long Mercury conjunct the sun, semi-square to Venus conjunct Mars. Now, that will frustrate some people, especially a group of you specifically. It will cause frustration. because of it's just a lot of sexual tension, a lot of sexual energy, this sense of maybe I can't say it to you correctly, but it's like we're gonna have makeup sex anyway. It's kind of like that kind of tension. It's a semi-square, so it's not huge, but it's extra frustration, especially with communications. It could even be like, oh, something hasn't come through, or why didn't they text back? You know, that kind of energy. Why didn't they text back? Or what do they mean by this? Is more that along the lines. What do they mean by this? Right? It may be that your articulate and bright mind is kind of screwing with the more emotional, sensual side of the Venus conjunct Mars, or it may be just volumizing it, right? Making it even more intense. So let's get into Scorpio specifics, shall we? We've got Mars, which is your traditional ruler, and you should always follow where Mars is because it impacts all of you. Actually, let's start with Scorpio itself. So in the zodiac sign of Scorpio itself, we have the north node. We have the south node. The south node is at 1 degree Scorpio. That's what we have. Nothing else real big actually falling in Scorpio. So let's look at Mars. Mars is moving between 22 and 25 degrees Leo. Great. It is also conjunct Venus all week long. It is also square to Uranus all week long. That's huge because it's sexual revelation, sexual rebellion. We have a trine to Chiron, which means there's sexual healing through rebellion and revolution. So this is like a huge sexual change to heal past trauma, or being able to finally get over it or on the other side of it. And then we have trine, the Mars all week long is trine to the north node. That's really interesting because there's energy that's supporting moving forward or feeling harmonious, healing, and moving forward at the same time. Like it's like we're healing because we're able to, we don't have to be that comfortable anymore. We can actually keep just moving forward, and we're comfortable stepping outside of our comfort zones, like taking action outside of our comfort zones. And then all week long, Mars, like I said before, is semi-square to the Sun conjunct Mercury, which could be kind of frustrating energy when it comes to messages that come in or information that comes to light, but it's also exciting. Okay, so what is Pluto doing? Pluto is at 29 degrees Capricorn. It is in retrograde. It is sextile to Neptune through 2035. We just discussed that. It's also square to the node. So there's not major Pluto activity really going on a lot, except passive aggressively through Neptune, which is kind of involved this week. But so it's all about change through the veil coming down. So it's an intense freaking week, but it's like that tension that you feel and the pain that you feel as chains get unlocked from you. There's a lot of change coming. So we have Scorpio ones. So if your natal sun is between 0 and 9 degrees Scorpio, you are Scorpio ones because your natal sun falls within the first decan of Scorpio. This correlates to October Scorpios. So any Scorpio born between October 22nd and October 31st, you are Scorpio ones. That's right up to Halloween, baby. And definitely Libra cusps. Scorpio ones, you got a very complex week, so just hold on. If you are at the cusp of the Libra cusp, so say October 22nd, 23rd. If you are early in the week, by the end of the week, your natal suns will be sextile to Mars. That means extra vitality and energy for you by the end of the week. But let's talk about throughout the week. You have some long-term energies here that are definitely impacting you. You're in opposition to Jupiter, especially those of you born around Halloween, the 30th, the 31st, toward the end of the first decan. You guys are opposite Jupiter. That means that you want to grow and expand, and you just want to get things done, and you could be rushing things, but still the motivation is to expand. So if you've been feeling like things are happening too quickly, you know why. You also have that long-term trine to Saturn that we've talked about, and that quincunx to Neptune, which means that staying more steady is so much more helpful for you now, especially over this next year. But you also have that square to Pluto. You need change. It's going to change. Change is going to come. And there is a formidability about your character that actually intimidates people. Whether you realize it or not, they could feel forced or backed up against the wall, which would work to your advantage, but also come back around to bite you in the ass eventually. So just be wary. Like I always say, relentless, not ruthless. Okay? And then your natal suns are also quincunx to Uranus, so there's a lot of curveballs that keep coming at you and oddball things that distract you or will catch your attention. So really for this week, the primary is toward the end of the week, you at the cusps are going to get that little uptick in energy from that sextile to Mars. You're going to want to take action on something. And since Mars is in Leo, still conjunct Venus, probably take action on some sort of relationship or sexual energy thing. And also this week, for those of you who are born around Halloween, you're in direct opposition to Jupiter right now. You've been probably since last week, definitely. Since last week, but this week definitely you guys are right under the gun, especially you Halloween babies. This opposition to Jupiter could make things explode because you're sick of waiting, you're frustrated on waiting. It's just a sense of it's almost like we grow or I explode type of energy. Scorpio 2s, you guys have a real big week. If your natal sun falls between 10 and 19 degrees Scorpio, it falls in the second decan of Scorpio. You are a Scorpio 2. Your birthdays usually correlate between November 1st and 10th. Your natal suns are sextile to this full moon. So it's going to open up a lot of freaking doors and opportunities for you, especially possibly to reveal a lot of shit that you've been holding on to, let it go, release it, and even use it to your advantage. If you've had that information, or you just need to release the information, it will actually help you too. It will position you better. It could open up doors by you opening up yourself. FYI, this new moon is going to be huge for you. You are also trine to the sun conjunct Mercury, which means exceptional communications, harmonious, good news coming in to unlock you from this trap or stuff that you needed to keep hidden. Like all of this can be revealed now. Really, really fortunate time. You guys, especially born around the 1st or 2nd, are also in direct opposition to Jupiter, which means especially for you, this is going to be extremely exaggerated and very excessive energy. Huge kaboom. But in a good way that helps you to make progress, get shit off your chest, but also opportunities for yourself finally coming in. Scorpio 3s. If your natal sun is between 20 and 29 degrees Scorpio, it does fall in the third decan of Scorpio. You are Scorpio 3s. I've got to think before I talk right now. I know. Supposedly you're supposed to do that all the time. So your birthdays correlate usually between the 11th and the 21st of November. But once again, that can toggle, but it's around there because the 11th can sometimes be part of the second decan too. Your natal sun's long-term transit sextile to Pluto, which is change is going to come and you're going to make it happen. You're going to be the change maker. Good things are happening through this change in your life. Your life is opening up because you're changing. Trine to Neptune, but remember Neptune goes in retrograde. So ultimately this trine to Neptune gets now a retrograde that it's interacting with. So there is a sense of really feeling at peace with your spirituality, but also maybe in some ways feeling at peace when the veil falls. Like you wanting it to, or getting a little bit closer to past loved ones, right? Getting more messages from them, picking up more of that psychic energy. I'm telling you, until Neptune goes back direct, which is in the fall, it'll really hype up for you. That psychic mediumship will really amp up for you. This week, oh, sorry, there's also a long-term opposition to Uranus for you guys. I would say especially for those of you who are at the beginning of, say, around the 11th or 12th, if your birthdays would be. So that would be 20 to 21 degrees, right? That's kind of like the direct opposition to Uranus. What does that mean? Curveballs left and right, really butting heads constantly with oddball things, or those oddball aspects of who you are, wanting to feel like you have to incite rebellion or feel like there's always some sort of opposition to you. It's almost oppositional behavior disorder kind of thing. So watch out for that, though, for the next couple of years, because you don't want to reject something just to find uniqueness in rejecting it. Do you know what I'm saying? Watch out for that. This week, your natal suns are squared to Venus conjunct Mars because of where they land, especially those of you born, I would say, between the 11th and the 16th type of energy. Like those, your natal suns are real close or in a real tight square to Venus, which means tension, especially when it comes to sexual tension, your sexual relationships. Shit could come out, challenges could arise. They are designed, because it's a square, right, to start out difficult, to challenge you so that you can actually get a lot better at something. So that's how a square is built. So if you don't back down and you're brave enough to learn, this could actually be a huge breakthrough by the end of the week. And then we have the full moon, and your natal suns are semi-square to it. So there is a little extra agitation and stubbornness that's coming from that full moon in Capricorn. So maybe you don't want to reveal something. You're pissed because something you're supposed to talk about and you don't want to talk about. But because it's a semi-square, also know it is challenging you to do better and to go beyond your comfort zone. And if you do, you will learn and grow exponentially. You let me know in the comments below. And then please subscribe to this channel and give this video a thumbs up, and then come on over to Born Without Boundaries Tarot for your week ahead tarot card reading. I'll see you guys there. Bye.